It shouldn't shock you that many of your favorite celebrities may not be the perfect people they make themselves out to be. Countless celebrities have been involved in awful crimes that landed them in jail. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more amazing videos. Justin Bieber has been on top of the world for over a decade, though his incredible career didn't come without its fair share of shortcomings. In January of 2014, he was caught throwing eggs at a neighbor's house and allegedly high-fiving his friends after doing so. By July of 2014, Justin was charged with one count of vandalism in regards to this case after police revealed that they had video footage of the incident. Justin pleaded no contest to the charge and accepted 2 years of probation. Later that same month, he was arrested for driving under the influence of several drugs and alcohol. Justin eventually settled his case with a plea bargain. He accepted responsibility for his actions and requested that he pay a fine of just $500, as well as attend a 12-hour anger management course, as well as a course that helps to explain the impact drunk driving can have on the families of innocent victims. He also offered to make a contribution of $50,000 to a local children's charity to prove that he had truly learned from his actions. Once again in 2014, news broke that Justin would be facing charges regarding an attack on his limo driver. The driver claimed that in December of 2014, Justin struck him in the back of the head. These charges came out just a few short days after Justin was accused of fighting a minivan driver in his hometown in Canada. Bieber was able to have the limousine charges dismissed after the prosecutors were unable to find any usable evidence to convict him of any wrongdoing. The other case regarding the minivan driver wasn't as easy though. The case dragged on for many months before finally being settled in June of 2015. Justin was found guilty of both assault and careless driving. These charges came after prosecutors found that Bieber's ATV collided with a minivan, though Justin insists that the crash was the fault of unexpected paparazzi. Will Smith may be one of the biggest names in American television history. He had a successful rap career throughout the 1980s before making his way onto the massively popular show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will would be the star of the show for 6 seasons before it eventually ended in May of 1996. Will set an incredible example as an actor and is considered one of Hollywood's most humble entertainers of all time. His children are now involved in acting and entertainment as well. However, Will wasn't always the man that he is today. Back in 1989, Will Smith was involved in an attack against a fellow musician. He was just 20 years old at the time, and the attack reportedly came after Will had received a Grammy for one of his songs. During a disagreement, Will had supposedly asked one of his bodyguards to attack a record producer named William Hendrix. Because of this, Will was arrested and spent a night in jail. He recalls this being one of the worst nights of his life, saying that he was awoken throughout the night by other inmates asking for his autograph. Tim Allen is considered one of America's most beloved actors and comedians. He's been in the entertainment business since the 1970s and has come a long way since then. He struggled as a stand-up comedian for many years before landing his major television role as Tim Taylor on Home Improvement. However, long before we knew him as Tim Taylor, Tim Allen served some time in prison for a very serious crime. The 1970s and 80s were a very big time for drug trafficking. Police were suddenly struggling to keep these illegal goods from entering and exiting the border, so there was a major crackdown on the criminals behind the sale of these products. As fate would have it, in 1978, Tim Allen was arrested after he was caught while carrying an astonishing 1.4 pounds of illegal drugs. He was taken to court and given 3 to 7 years for the crime, but he was able to be paroled after just 2 years and 4 months. Bill Cosby was once America's most beloved television star. He had been the star of several sitcom programs that were considered family entertainment. He was held in high regard with some of the other popular family television stars from the time, including Mr. Rogers and Tim Allen. However, there was a dark side to Bill Cosby that the world had never seen. In 2014, news began to emerge that claimed Bill Cosby had assaulted several young women throughout his career. He would use his fame to seduce the women and then force them to perform certain acts against their will. America was stunned, though most people shrugged off these claims. However, just a few years later, Bill was found guilty of several events that took place between 2004 and 2018. He was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison for his crimes, with many of his victims claiming that this time is not enough. He was fined about $25,000, though he's expected to be released in September of 2021. Chris Brown had an incredible career in the early 2000s. He was expected to be one of the greatest new musicians and had released hit after hit for many years. However, his world came crashing down in 2009 when he was arrested for attacking his girlfriend Rihanna. Instantly, his career halted and America turned on their once beloved musician. He was put on probation for the crime but was arrested in 2014 after violating the terms of his probation, causing him to be sentenced to prison for a few months. Once considered one of the most influential children's stars on television, Lindsay Lohan's career is a far cry from what it once was. Her career began to take off in the 1990s when she starred in several major films such as The Parent Trap and Get a Clue. She continued to star in the remake of Freaky Friday as well as Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen in 2004. She achieved serious success by 2004 with the release of Mean Girls, which has become one of the most popular comedy drama films of all time. However, as Lindsay was transitioning away from her child actor persona, she began to find herself in loads of trouble with the law. It didn't take long for Lindsay to become deeply involved in drugs and alcohol. She was eventually arrested and sentenced to jail in 2010, being given a 90-day sentence. She was just 24 years old at the time, and various sources report that she only served a single day of this sentence before being released into a rehabilitation program. Danny Trejo is likely one of the most famous ex-cons of all time. He's one of America's most highly regarded actors, but his life wasn't always spent in the spotlight. Back in the 1960s, Danny was in prison for various crimes that he committed throughout his youth. While in prison, he trained and became an excellent boxer. He spent a total of 11 years behind bars, serving time for everything from robbery to drug charges. After his release, Danny became friends with someone who was deeply involved in the television and entertainment business. This helped Danny to land major roles in films like Spy Kids, Machete, and star in several episodes of Breaking Bad. Danny has now completely turned his life around and is known for being one of the greatest villain actors in the business. Martha Stewart used to be one of the largest and most well-known lifestyle celebrities in the world, and she still is. Though, after she spent time in prison for various reasons, her career never took off the same way it did before. Martha Stewart had created a massive brand out of herself. She would release cookbooks, magazines, and countless how-to guides on home improvement as well as arts and crafts. However, her world came crashing down in 2004 when she was convicted in a stock trading case that saw Martha gain serious money from illegal trading. It was widely assumed that this conviction would end her career. However, that didn't happen. She spent 5 months in prison and was released in March of 2005. She began a massive campaign to rebuild her brand and image, and her company was profitable again by 2006. She's been raking in millions of dollars each year since then, and it seems like this minor hiccup in her career didn't slow her down at all. She can now be seen adding her branding to many different Chinese products, and she's become somewhat of a meme online in the last few years. Still, Martha's been giving it her all and is working hard to rebuild her brand. Before starring in several top-tier television shows, Charles S. Dutton was a young man with no direction. He had been involved in several stage performances and films, but his life changed forever in 1968 when he took the life of a man when he was just 17 years old. He was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 7 years in prison. He was released in 1975 but was arrested again within a few months after he was found guilty of owning an illegal weapon. He was sent to prison once again for 3 years. He took this time to read countless books involving black playwrights, causing Charles to work to get his GED and go to college. Once he was released, it didn't take long for him to get back into the film industry. He's now been seen on screens across the globe after starring in Law & Order, Criminal Minds, American Horror Story, and The Good Wife. This man has become a legend in recent years. Known as an all-round nice guy in Hollywood and the star of countless incredible movies, Mark Wahlberg has starred in Planet of the Apes, The Departed, Ted, Entourage, and many others. He was considered the world's highest-paid actor in 2017. He's continued his career and starred in many other films throughout the years and is one of the most recognizable faces in the entertainment industry. Though Mark's career wasn't always this amazing. Before he became a popular actor, Mark was involved in a couple of crimes in Boston. He was arrested after he attacked 2 Vietnamese men, with the courts believing the crimes were racially motivated. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison but was released after just 45 days.